Good afternoon, Year 11s. Haven't seen you for quite a while. I'm going to carry on with this May-June paper 2020. Yeah, and I just watched the rugby game between Australia and South Africa, and unfortunately, South Africa lost. They just didn't have a good time there on the field. Yeah, and made too many errors. Yeah, and if you make errors, you're not going to pass. And the same with us here. I mean, if you make too many errors, guys, you're not going to pass your paper, but I'm sure you guys are fine. You're playing like the Australians. They really had the drive and they did well. All right, so I'm going to look at the May-June paper. It's a continuation of my previous video. It's the 2020 paper. As you can see here, it's the 445/51, May-June 2020. Right, so we're going to start with B5, and I've sort of pre-drawn this drawing so that it's just a little bit easier to work from there. And let's look at the question. It says there, a package of a light bulb is shown below. The package has an inner section, right, which is this part here, and it slides out from the outer sleeve, right, which is obviously this one here, the outer sleeve there. It says there very clearly. And then it says here, complete the development of the outer sleeve, right, which is this one here, and lid on the package. Right, so we need to look at that and develop that basically, and that's already there. We just need to complete from the given, right? You can see this is 30 millimeters. Let's confirm the 30 millimeters. Yeah, it's 30 millimeters. So it's all scale 1:1, straightforward. No problems, no questions asked. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to extend this line here. We're going to extend this line over here. Okay, and then what we do next is we will now take the 30 millimeters that's been given to us here, and we will just arc those measurements off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, right, so now what we do is we got basically the bottom base. We can actually draw in dark. All right, that's been given, and now we can draw a line straight up here that gives us the full length of this. Right, there you go. Now what we do is we're going to draw these lines in construction, but I know for a fact that your window here sits over the word light bulb in this section here, and then it goes over into that section and into that section there. So basically there's our middle section and going over into that section there. So what we do here is we're going to have this one here as a solid line, and we're going to bring in our score lines here, maybe a different line tone, and over here let's put this one in first. Another one there, then the last one. Right, like center lines again. So it's just a different type of line, just to show that those are my score lines. Okay, so now I'm going to draw the actual window, and you know the reason for the window is to see the product inside. Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll see that you've got this measurement of 15. It goes in halfway from this bulb, from this point here. You're going to measure 15 here, and then halfway here you're going to have also a 15 going from there to there. So on your true length here, you've got a 15 there, and you've got a 15 over here. So those are the markings that we need. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure 15 across here, and we're going to measure 15 across here. Right, what we do then is we take our lines up, we project our lines up here, we project a line up here as well. Okay, And now we need, now that we've got those lines drawn, okay, so we've basically got this line in there, and we've got this line in over there, and the same on this side here, 15, 15, halfway. So what we need now is this measurement here, which is 10 given, and a 30 given from the bottom up. So that gives us that 30. So what we do here now, since we've got that line, we measure up 30 millimeters, and we measure 10 millimeters from the top. What we do now is we've got that line across, and now we can just do it dark. Dark there. Dark there. Right. And what we need now is basically to put a center line over here. Our score lines, that's also going to be scored. Okay, that's a little bit difficult because it's such a small, short line. And there you are, guys. So now we've got, just want to make this a little bit lighter so your window stands out, okay, because the line tone is not 100%. And you can see here, there's my, just darken this up quickly. There's our window. Okay, guys, that's it. Now that's our development. So if we have to test this, we can see here that there's our flap, our glue flap, and then we've got 6 parts here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is obviously your hexagon. That's 14 marks worth. Right, so let's look at the second question. It says here the lettering of a package is to be produced using a computer. Describe 2 ways that the appearance of the lettering should be altered using the computer. Right, so they're talking basically about this lettering here, the logo, or just lettering on it, describing the product. And it's asking you to describe 2 ways that we can change the appearance of it. Okay, the lettering that could be altered using the computer. Right. So, what can you say about that? So there's a couple of ways of doing it, but I'm just going to talk about a few of them. So we can say that the style, we can change the style, all right? So why would we do? So we change the style, and why would we change the style? It's just the appearance. Okay, we would change the style because it's just giving us more alternatives, okay, to change the style. Right, so and also it's also more attractive. You can take more types of styles that gives you more of a aesthetic pleasing look. So let's say to be attractive. Okay. Second one, so yeah, the first one is to change the style, all right? And the second one, we can do the font. Now the font is similar to the style, all right? But you can still change the font, all right? You can, so let's say here we can change the font this time. And how are we going to change the font? Okay, we can change it by brightening it up. Okay, so we can say here brightening. Okay, so that's what we can do. So we can change the style, we can change the font, and what else can we do? We can even change the size of this, all right? The size of the font. Right, so there's many ways that we can change the font so it looks a little bit more attractive than what it actually looks now. Okay, we can actually glide. We can actually put shadows there. We can glow them up, so we can put shadows here, and we can glow them up, and all sorts of things like that. Right. So question number 2: the packages for the light bulb are to be manufactured in quantities of 10,000. State a suitable method of printing the lettering onto the packages. All right, so let's just read this again. Where is the emphasis? It says that the packages for the light bulb are to be manufactured in quantities of 10,000. Okay, so it's not a 24-hour issue where there's a lot to be printed and the machines are just running like 24 hours. Okay, it's just a small quantity. So it says here, state a suitable method of printing the lettering onto packages. Now there is a few in my eyes. There's a few of them. We are looking at, for starters, I think graphene would be suitable. Okay, graphene would be suitable. Lithography. Would be okay. Yeah. And and I'm sure that should be acceptable. Graphene and lithography. We're not going to explain too much about that. You can go and it's in your textbooks what it actually means to use these different methods of printing. All right, where they are using it, etc., etc. Right. So let's continue with number C. The insert shown below fits into the bottom of the inner section to hold the bulb securely in place. Right, so basically as it says here, you've got this insert, this is the insert, shown below that fits into the bottom of the inner section to hold the bulb securely in place. So here's your inner section. So this slides in there, okay? And you can imagine that the bottom of the bulb sits into this hole. And the reason, obviously, for that is to secure and to put your bulb in there so it doesn't fall around within the box itself. All right, so it won't break. So there's no movement because that hole actually secures it. But this is a third piece added to this package, right? So now it says there, name a suitable material for the insert. Oh, there's many answers that you can actually give here. It's only one with 1 mark. So card B, obviously card would be one of my first choices. All right, card, you can use styrofoam. Okay, you can use corrugated. I'm spelling wrong here. Corrugated cardboard. I mean, you can even use styrofoam, and you can use foam board for that matter. Hey, how's my spelling today, guys? Corrugated foam board. Yeah, that's enough. So any one of those, okay, you can give one of those, any one of those. Describe a suitable method of producing the insert. Okay, so now how are we going to produce that? Guys, the conservative way is just to mark it out on card. Okay, we can do the marking out system where you then, once you've marked it off, so that's the marking out system, okay, where you then follow up with the cutting of it, cutting out, and assembly. Or you can use the die cutting method. You can use the die cutting method, and I mean the design. So basically, the design, you design your net, okay, on CAD. So you design on CAD, and then link it with the CAM, which is your die cutter. Okay, and then the die cutter will basically cut it out. So I think for those two, describe a suitable method. It's any one of those two. It doesn't matter which one you use, but I think for 2 marks, one would be suitable. You don't have to describe. It's only saying a suitable method. All right, so it's one of those two. All right, and then lastly, D. In use, the inner section of the package slips out of the outer sleeve too easily, causing the bulb to drop out and break. Use sketches and notes to show a method of securing the 2 parts of the packages together without the use of adhesives. All right. So what they mean here is that obviously because of that slight change or difference in measurements, this is a, let's say, 30, and this should be around about 28 to 29. Because of that, it has to slide in up and down. All right, but it can happen that when you open it, or it just, anything can happen, and the bulb can actually fall out and it can break. So now they want you to draw a device that avoids that slipping out of the top in the bottom. All right, so they want something in the line of the arrow and tab. I would say arrow and tab in this section would work. So let's see. So I'm going to sketch. It says here, use sketches and notes to show a method of securing the 2 parts of the package together without using adhesives. Right. So basically what I will do is, your package, I'm going to draw one section of it. Okay, that's one section. And I think what I will do is I will have the slot drawn over there. Okay, and then with the top part sliding over this. Okay, so now you've got your top part slightly bigger. Okay, you would have some kind of arrow. The arrow would be here, but I would give it a bit of a slit, something like this. Okay, I would have a cutout over there. Okay, let me just clear this part here. Let's clear that part here. And to show basically that section would fit into this section. All right, let me just draw neat in detail. So that part goes in there, and this would also be a score line over here. Okay, so it's sort of bend. So what happens here is, if we have to now take the 2 parts apart, you would have this section here like so. Okay, going into a smaller section, sort of like the same width. The slot area would be there. Okay. And this here, let's just take that as a break line. Let's put a break line in there, and let's put a break line in here to show continuity. Okay, and these it, guys. Folding line over here. So it shows you that here it's basically assembled, but not 100%. And here it shows you this the 2 parts separately away from each other. And then I think that's about worth 3 marks. Okay, guys, I think that's it for B5. And yeah, if you like it, give me a like and subscribe if you feel you want to follow me with the next videos. And until later, cheers.